Well, welcome, boys and girls, to another edition of Faith Friday, or looking ahead to this Sunday's Gospel. You know, boys and girls, as you grow up, you begin to learn all the things you're supposed to do. And these are very important things which you really should be doing all the time. For example, you should always brush your teeth before you go to bed. Or you should always do your homework. You should always listen to mom and dad, to what they tell you to do. And now, with this pandemic, there's even more things you're supposed to do all the time. Well, you're supposed to, keep 6 feet distance from each other. You're supposed to wear a mask. But you know, as much as important to do all of these must-do things, these things you're supposed to do, sometimes they can be very hard. Like you're supposed to wear a mask. But then what happens when you go to drink something? Well, go to drink something. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, you got to take off the mask. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to do the things you're supposed to do. Sometimes it's hard to keep social distance. Sometimes it's, even difficult to do your homework, especially if you're not feeling well. It's hard to brush your teeth when you're staying over your grandmother's house and the only toothbrush she has is her old toothbrush, which is really gross. Yeah, sometimes, even though they're important things that you're supposed to do, sometimes you always can't do them. And we call those exceptions. Exceptions to the rule. Exceptions to the commandments. Well, back in the time of Jesus, they had a lot of things they were supposed to do. They were called laws. And there were 613 laws that everybody was supposed to do. But in the time of Jesus, people would discuss, which thing is more important? Or what are some of the laws that sometimes you can't always do? And maybe is there a law that no matter what, you must always, always, always do without exception? So they bring this question to Jesus. They kind of want to test him to see what he's going to say. Now, of all the laws we have, they say to Jesus, which one is the greatest? Which is a way of saying which one has no exceptions. You must always do this. And Jesus says, that's easy. I know the answer to that. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and you must love your neighbor as yourself. And there are no exceptions to that rule. You think about that, boys and girls, how true that is. There never comes a time when we aren't supposed to be loving God. And certainly no one would ever say, I could love God these days, but these days I don't have to love him. No, we all know that that's a law that has no exception. But here's a more difficult one. You must love others, always, all the time, no exception. That means you must love this person who's mean to you, no exception. You must love this person sometimes who speaks bad things about you, all the time. You must love this person who sometimes annoys you, no exceptions. Love your neighbor. And your neighbor is everybody. Everybody. Well, people found that very, very challenging, very difficult. And maybe we do too. But that's why we pray all the time. And we pray because we love God so much. We say, God, help me to love others. Help me to see others. Help me to accept others the way you love them, the way you see them, the way you accept them. To love God with all your mind, soul, and heart. To love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the things we are supposed to do all the time. Well, boys and girls, thank you so much for listening, and you have a blessed day.